Hi guys, here I'm filming my table saw outfeed table that I've built for my Metabo table saw. It is 2 meters long, 1 meter wide. I've put it onto caster wheels so it can be moved around. And it is very, very solid. Perhaps slightly over-engineered. The wood was cheap, so all is good. I can move it around. What I've done, I've bought wood that is rough sawn. This is the sort of wood I buy. It's about 12.5 centimeters by about 5.5 centimeters, and it comes in 4 meter lengths. So it's very rough sawn. It's quite rough. I plane it with my Metabo planer. This thing, end up with rather nice planed wood like this. The finish is great. It might not be perfectly square, but it's pretty much square and it's fine for the type of jobs I do. So here I've got the 12 by 5 bits of wood. The plan I drew up on Sketchup. And I sort of calculated it backwards from the height of the table saw. I didn't have to shim up the table saw at all. It all fitted perfectly. The table saw fits onto this lower shelf. It bolts in 4 places. These here are my engineering squares, 45 degrees and 90 degrees. I use these to set the table saw blade. So I'll just keep them there. But this table is perfectly flat. I mean, it really is good there, you see. There's no light coming from under that. It really is fine. I mean, as wood comes off, the table saw, it slides perfectly over onto the table with a little bit of extra space on the sides, allowing for a sled to be used. It's absolutely perfect. What I will do is I have a couple of tracks here. I'll put these 2 tracks, one here and one here, in line with the tracks from the table saw, and that will allow me to use a sled and to extend the runners of the sled over onto the table, so I can push the sled up to here doing crosscuts. So I didn't do a build video of this outfeed table. Yeah, I don't think it really needs a build video. I mean, everybody's going to do it their own way. I screwed and I glued these bits of wood together. As I say, it's probably overkill what I've done in terms of size of wood, but my local shop had this wood cheap. I mean, it really was cheaper, and I planed it. I cut it to length, and I've used spack screws to screw it together, and done some tight bond 3 glue to glue it as well. So it really is solid, rock solid. And what I'll do is I'll use the back of the table there for my planer. I'll take the planer off this temporary stand that I've made for the planer, which is a bit of a pain to use. I have to lift this off and I have to move it around. But what I'll prefer to do is install the planer up on here when I use it, and then I'll put a shelf down underneath the table to store the planer, probably maybe with a sliding tray, so I can get the planer out pretty easily, because it's quite a heavy thing. So I'll put a plank down there, a sliding tray for the planer that I can then lift it up onto the top, and I'll put a couple of holes to bolt it down onto the tabletop.